Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session designed to help adjust, let's say, less healthy habits for more useful, healthy habits that could lead to gradual but effective weight loss. And with the lady that I was working with here, there was 3 key habits that she had that were getting in the way. Generally, her diet was amazing. She was eating lots of salads, lean proteins, very healthy, organic, nutritious foods. But there were 3 things that she was doing that were making it harder for her to get to the body shape that she wanted. So the first thing was portion size. So although she was eating healthy, she was eating larger portions and generally not eating that slowly. So the problem with that is that if you eat fast, your body doesn't let you know that you're no longer hungry until it's a bit too late and then you feel bloated. That also stretches the stomach, which means that you have more of an appetite to eat more food on the next meal when the stomach starts to shrink. So eating big portions was one habit that she had. Second habit was that she wasn't that active. So although she was eating really well, the amount of physical activity that she was doing, partly down to, let's say, previous health-related issues in terms of mobility and that kind of stuff. Not that she couldn't do a huge amount, but it was just impeding, and she got into the habit of doing less. And then the third thing was evening routines. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is 3 key things, really. 1, regressing to a time where she felt comfortable in her own body and liked how she felt. Secondly, seeing herself in terms of what she's currently doing and what future body that would enable her to look like. And then effectively experimenting, testing with these habits. So what would it look like for her to have bigger portions? And then she saw a future version of herself bigger. And then what would it do if she had smaller portions? And she could see that she didn't have to change everything. There was like 2 or 3 things that if she made subtle changes and was consistent with those, it would have a dramatic difference in the future body shape. And it was a desirable body shape, and it felt an appealing, achievable body shape for her and her age and her motives and that kind of stuff. So I think this hypnosis session will be very useful for anyone that can relate to perhaps eating portion sizes that are bigger than they need, maybe not exercising as much as they could, and maybe having evening routines. And that might just be eating snacks before bedtime, or the choice of foods, or how late you have that last meal. Obviously, this was created for someone else. So if you're listening to this and thinking, well, actually, I might like some help to lose weight, but this doesn't quite fit it, there will be a link nearby that will enable you to book a 30-minute consultation call with me, and then I can talk through how I would work with you individually to help you get to that kind of ideal weight loss goal that you're looking for. And the reality is, virtually every client I've worked with, they know what they should be doing, they're just not doing it. And that's why hypnosis can help, because it taps into the resources and the mindset and different ways of thinking about things to actually have the breakthroughs that enable people to lose weight and keep the weight off. So for this session, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. And as you take a deep breath in, on the outward breath, that's it. Just allow your eyelids to fully close, noticing they get heavier and heavier. That's it. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. And I want you to try and focus your attention on everything but my words. Try and pay attention to the sound of the wind outside the window, blowing through the leaves of trees. Try and pay attention to the sound of a ticking of a clock. Try and pay attention to the very subtle sound of an air conditioner. Pay attention to your heart beating inside your own body and appreciate that there is infinite sounds all around you. As you breathe in and breathe out, notice that even taking in a breath has a sound. And paradoxically, the more you pay attention to everything but my voice, the better able I am to communicate directly with your unconscious mind. The part of your mind that, without any control from you, means that your heart beats just as fast as it needs to beat, that you blink just as much as you need to blink to ensure your eyes are free of dirt and debris, that your body works in a way to make you warmer or colder depending on the temperature. If you have an itch, you scratch it without thinking. As you continue to breathe in and breathe out and realize that even breathing 99% of the time is done automatically. As your body needs more oxygen, you breathe more rapidly, and as it doesn't, you breathe more slowly. As you start to appreciate just how much happens all by itself, continuing to breathe in and breathe out. And I want you to recall a picture of a wedding day where you felt amazing. Maybe you're imagining a picture on a wall, in a frame, a picture on your phone, on a social media feed, it doesn't matter where, but as you recall that picture of you looking good on that particular day, I want you to appreciate that at the time you didn't realize how good you looked. I want you to get a sense that sometimes time gives us perspective. Sometimes there's a voice in our head that says we should always be more, do more, have more, stealing a sense of gratitude for what we have in the moment. And then as you look at that picture, I want you to imagine what it would be like to, like Mary Poppins did, climb into the picture and revisit that moment. But you revisit that moment like you are a guest at the wedding rather than the star of the wedding. I want you to see you how everyone else saw you on that day. Continue to breathe in and breathe out. And notice that from this perspective, you're seeing yourself, the shape, the smile, realizing that this is a body where you could enjoy your body. You didn't have to force your body to be a particular shape. And I want you to notice that there was an element of relaxation, an element of freedom. And you may recall back then that there might have been feelings of frustration that it wasn't enough, and yet right now, this would be a desirable body to live in and to have. And I wonder what would happen if you got to relive a part of that day again. I want you to imagine climbing into your body back then, feeling how good it felt to have that body, and appreciating that you didn't appreciate this body enough at the time when you had it. And yet now revisiting inside, this version of you enables you to really have a sense of gratitude and appreciation and love for the body that you had back then. Notice how you were breathing back then. And I want you to connect with where you feel that gratitude. A feeling of gratitude, a feeling of love for your body. Scan your body for where you feel that feeling and then just point to that location. That's it. And I want you to enable that feeling to grow, knowing that your body knows what it likes. You know what food you like. You know how much rest you need. You know how to feel good in this body, at this shape, at this size. And then I want you to imagine it's a few days, maybe a few weeks later, but you're still in this body, only this time you're in Barcelona. And I want you to imagine that maybe you're in a hotel room, or maybe you've just got a few moments to yourself. And I want you to imagine that you're relaxing with your own thoughts. Again, feeling how good it feels to have this body. And I want you to imagine that you are thinking about the future, where you get to revisit a future that hadn't happened at the time but is happening now. And I want you to see yourself in the present with your routines. I want you to imagine a future where you're seeing yourself eating the quantity of food, the portion sizes that you normally do eat. And if you can imagine what that's like, just let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine that if you continue to eat at this portion size, I then want you to imagine perhaps 9 or 12 months in the future after that point, you attending a meal in New York and seeing what kind of body shape you would have if you continue to eat portion sizes to the level that you have been eating portion sizes. And if you can see that future version of yourself, just let me know by nodding your head. And if this is a compelling vision of where you want to get to, let me know by nodding your head. Or if you're pretty sure that this is a place where you'd rather your body was different at that same place, just let me know. That's right. So I want you to imagine that we can test your mind's ability to connect the dots between cause and effect. And I want you to imagine, as you're there in Barcelona thinking about a future that at the time hadn't happened, but is happening now, I want you to imagine what would happen if you doubled your portion size and doubled the frequency of food that you ate. And I want you to see a future version of yourself where you're eating twice as much, twice as often. See what would have to happen. You're not changing what you eat, just how much you eat. Maybe you're eating at different times. Maybe you're putting more on your plate. And maybe you're seeing yourself eat faster because you have to eat all that food. And then let's take a look at that future of you, New York, 9 to 12 months after. And if your body has increased in size, just let me know by nodding your head. And if this is an undesirable future, let me know by nodding your head. And then I want you to jump back in time. See yourself, but instead of doubling the portion of your food, I want you to imagine seeing you have half the amount of food. Not because you will, but just to test what impact that has. I want you to imagine that you're seeing yourself where you would normally eat food, in the exact room, preparing it in the same kitchen, eating at the same restaurants. But I want you to see yourself eating half the amount. But crucially, I want you to see yourself eating it twice as slow. I want you to see yourself eating the best foods first. I want you to see yourself with a real sense of gratitude and enjoyment. Sometimes they say less is more, and in this case, the less you eat, the more enjoyable you're finding food. See yourself eating in that way. And when people ask, "Are you not hungry?" you can see yourself saying, "No, I'm not," almost with a surprised look on your face. And I want you to imagine that because you're eating less but enjoying more, it's lifting an invisibility cloak, enabling your body to see all of the energy reserves you have in stored energy as body fat. And that's why you don't need to eat so much, because you are training your body to start feasting on all the food it put in the cupboards. And perhaps you can recall things that you've had in your cupboards for years, maybe in an old tin can. You bought it with the intention that maybe you will eat it one day, and it's just never been eaten yet. And I want you to entertain the idea that you have new body fat cells and you have older body fat cells. And those older body fat cells are kind of like the tins of food that you bought perhaps 4, 5, 6 years ago and just never opened. And sometimes there might be things that you have in your cupboards that you bought just a few weeks ago that you will get round to eating. And I want you to entertain the idea that all of your body fat cells are the equivalent of food that you've stored in your cupboards to eat for later. And entertain the idea that you will never ever go into those cupboards if you continue to do daily shops for food in the supermarket, stocking your fridge and perhaps those nearer cupboards. But if the fridge was to empty, I want you to start imagining that sooner or later those cupboards would open, and perhaps you would eat the foods that are more recent first, but eventually you would even get to eating those old tins of food, perhaps that you bought many years ago. I want you to look back at you eating half the amount and only really eating at meal times, snacking less, and then go forward in time and see yourself at a restaurant in New York wearing an incredible dress. See yourself in the body shape you would be if you were eating less but enjoying food even more. That even though portion size reduced, the amount of satisfaction from you getting from food actually increased. And if you can see that future version of you there having a meal in New York, just let me know by nodding your head. And if that feels like it's a believable, achievable body shape to have, proportionate to you eating smaller portions, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right. So then what I want you to do is imagine you're no longer in Barcelona. I want you to imagine you're now stepping into that version of you. The version of you that for the next few days and few weeks are doing different things to ensure that your portion size is smaller. Scan your inner dialogue for the right words. Things like less is more. The less I eat, the better food is going to taste. I'm going to get just as much joy from this food even though I'm eating less. There are no taste buds in the stomach, only on the tongue. And as you say yourself to this, notice that you pay more attention to the food, the smells of it, the textures of it. You notice colors you didn't notice before, smells you didn't notice before, textures you didn't notice before. You even lift it from the plate into your mouth slowly. as it enters your mouth, you notice textures that before you would have missed because you were already chewing and swallowing, but now, by choosing to have it in your mouth for longer and chew slowly, notice that you're extracting more value, more taste, more flavors from this food than you ever have. So even though you're eating less, you're enjoying your food more than you ever have. And if your unconscious mind accepts that this isn't a suggestion, this is just a way of living that gives you the ability to lose weight and enjoy the process, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And then imagine jumping back to that version of you, feeling good in your own body back in Barcelona with time for yourself. And then imagine you're seeing a future version of yourself be more active. Not a slave to the gym, not doing crazy workouts, but I want you to see yourself being more active, walking more, maybe doing sports that you used to like anyway, swimming, maybe cycling, but definitely walking more. And I wonder what would happen if you saw yourself not just walking every now and then, but wherever possible, looking for opportunities to walk. If the weather's sunny, see yourself say, oh, this would be a lovely time for a walk. See yourself choosing to walk rather than take the car. See yourself walking up staircases rather than take an escalator or a lift. And if you can see yourself doing that in different situations over a prolonged period of time, then jump back to that version of you in New York and see if you're looking healthier and slimmer. And if you like that future, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And then I want you to imagine jumping back into that Barcelona version of you, and this time seeing yourself with a different relationship to food in the evenings. Maybe you see yourself having your last bit of food, maybe before you normally would. Just typically you tend to eat earlier. Or maybe you see yourself doing something after your meal, maybe getting into the routine of having a short walk after eating just to help your food digest. I want you to see yourself doing something differently to how you normally do things in the evening that you feel would have a positive contribution to your health and well-being. And if you can see yourself doing different things, but also enjoying those things, just let me know by nodding your head. And then jump back to that future, a future where you see yourself in New York having eaten less, having been more active, and now with a different relationship to food in the evening, see yourself with all three things having taken place, not all the time, but just increasingly amounts of eating less, being more active, changing your evening routine. And if that new version of you there in New York is looking healthy and happy to the same level you were on your wedding day, or even more so, just let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And then imagine stepping into that version of you just before the meal starts. Maybe you're in a hotel room, see yourself in a full-length mirror, wearing an outfit that makes you feel good in your own body. See yourself smiling in the mirror, see yourself smiling back, feeling good in your body, and then thinking back to what you did to create this version of you. And it wasn't complicated. Eating less but enjoying more. Being more active wherever you could. And changing your relationship with food in the evenings. And those little things consistently gave you the body that you feel like you're in at the moment. And if this feels appealing desirable and believable and therefore achievable, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And none of these things required a fad diet. None of these things required you to force your body to lose weight. It was subtle but consistent things that enabled you to do them but also enjoy doing them. Supporting your body, repairing the relationship with your body, deciding that rather than being a dog that wolfs the food down without tasting it, you would be the cat, willing to walk away from a dish of food, knowing that it can come back later, only eating when they're hungry, choosing not to when they're not. Being active, not because it's something that a cat has to do, but being active because cats like to be active. They like to run and play and jump. And I want you to appreciate that the ability to enjoy your body, to enjoy your food, to enjoy your evenings, doesn't require you to keep gaining weight. In fact, you can do all of those things and train your body to lift the invisibility cloak over all of this stored energy in your body. And as you do so, you will lose weight, but more importantly, you will lose weight and enjoy the process. And then imagine walking into that restaurant, wearing perhaps that dress, that outfit, feeling confident, feeling good. I want you to say something inside your head that gives you an idea that this isn't a possibility, this is a destiny. I want you to say to yourself in your own head, just as you sit down to eat, I saw this happening. I could see my body being like this months and months ago. And perhaps you're even sharing a conversation or two around that time with how you did it. Maybe a friend or family member is asking you, how did you lose so much weight? And you can hear yourself saying, I just started having smaller portions. I just started being a bit more active. I just changed my relationship to food in the evenings. And notice their confused and surprised reaction where they wonder, could it really be that easy? And yet, if it's consistent, it can be that easy. And then find yourself back in that room in Barcelona, feeling like you've seen a glimpse of a future yet to happen. Jump back to that version of you on your wedding day, feeling good in your own body, noticing that at some point, decades in the future, you will appreciate your body at every age you've ever been, whether you are overweight or not. There'll be a time when you're in your 70s, 80s, 90s, and you'll look back at pictures and be annoyed that you weren't grateful for your body at every stage in your life. But right now you feel good, and more importantly, you feel that you can make choices to take your body and your life in the direction that will give you more confidence, more self-esteem, and a better relationship with your own metabolism. And then imagine jumping back out of that picture into a chair, listening to my voice firmly in the present. And very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, but more importantly, feeling that you now have not just a compelling vision of your future, but a way to influence and change that vision based on what you choose to do on any given day. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that you're in your own physical body right now as we count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake. Wide awake. Wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.